Vercel is a $9 billion software company, and they just fired 90% of their SDR team. But what's really shocking is how they did it and the role that AI played. Their chief operating officer, Jean DeWitt Grosser, said, if you can document a workflow, it's now pretty straightforward to have an AI agent do it. And guys, there's a ton of ways that you can document workflows. A software called Scribe is a great way to do that. We'll get to that in just a moment. Because let's start from the top, guys. Let's start from the top. And by the way, make sure you subscribe so you can keep up to date on what's happening with AI, what's happening with jobs. This channel is designed to help men just like you remain relevant, respected, and financially free during this AI revolution. So thanks for scubbing. Fresh videos 6 days a week. Now let's get back to the story here, okay? Vercel. So Vercel is a private cloud infrastructure company based in San Francisco. And a couple months ago, they decided to test a hypothesis. Can we replace our SDR team with AI agents? So at the time, Vercel had an inbound sales development team of 10 people. And these SDRs handle tasks like filtering inbound leads, researching companies, qualifying prospects, drafting replies, basic support. You know, and by the way, if you run any sort of sales organization, marketing and sales organization, you understand that having SDRs in place to clean up the data is very, very important. Otherwise, they're just wasting the sales people's team. You know, I run tens of thousands of dollars in ads on Google, and the reality is a lot of the leads that come in aren't good. A lot of the leads are good, but a lot of them aren't. So how do you filter through them? How do you calculate them well? It's also important that once you get the new leads in, that they're properly segmented, that you make sure that the names are properly registered, that emails line up, that you have notations, that the UTM source is accurate. You got to make sure all the data is clean. Because just because someone comes in once, that's not like the end of it. You could still market and nurture them for months, if not years to come. So long story short, SDRs are important. And these are what the roles of these 10 people at Vercel were doing. Now, what Vercel did is they selected their top performer out of their 10 SDRs. And over the next 6 weeks, they had their software engineers shadow this SDR and document every step. Everything from the filters used to miscellaneous decision points, data sources, what triggered escalations to salespeople. You know, what are the actions that this guy is doing? And by the way, I'll get back to that software in just a moment. At any rate, he's using, they started using all this documentation. The software engineers used all this documentation from this SDR, and they built AI agents to replicate the workflows. And within hours, these AI agents were handling inbound messages, filtering spam, querying internal and external databases, drafting responses, scraping LinkedIn, routing support tickets. Are you starting to understand what's happening yet? The results, well, they speak for themselves. They replaced 9 of their SDRs, leaving only 1 human to oversee the AI agents. By the way, that 1 human, highly doubt that was one of the SDRs. Highly doubt it. Why would you don't need an SDR, you need a software engineer. You need somebody that understands how the AI agents work, how to improve the prompts, how to update automations, how to monitor if things break down. So basically their entire SDR team, the problems that you were solving today are not the problems you're going to be solving tomorrow. And what happened to these SDRs? Well, what Vercel says is that they moved them to different outbound, higher value types of sales. But I'll tell you what, a lot of SDRs are not going to be able to make that jump. Some will, but here's the deal. You can't fit a square through a circle. And what's going to happen, and this is, guys, I'm going to get back to this. What's going to happen to guys just like you is AI agents are going to start to come in. Your bosses, if you're a business owner, you're looking at this and you're drooling. You're saying, I can use AI agents to optimize all my operations. By the way, I'm going to post a link to a video here. I covered a video a little while ago. I have a friend that's the regional manager for a large auto mechanic company. You've heard of them. I'm not going to say their name here, but they're using AI agents to send proposals, to look at, to source parts for products. They're using AI agents to answer phone calls and book meetings. He said, you got to watch the video, guys. It is insane what they are doing at this auto part shop because the AI agents are booking 15 to 20% of every scheduled meeting is booked by an AI agent, which was crazy to me. Go watch the video, check it out. Because the reality is this, the problems you're solving today are not the problems you're gonna be solving tomorrow. And that's what I think that most people don't understand. These SDRs they were clocking in and they were filtering all this data, they were cleaning up the data, they were doing data enrichment, and then all of a sudden their boss said, hey, actually we're gonna have an AI agent do that job. Now I need you to completely shift your JD, and now you're gonna be actually calling people outbound. I hope you're good on the phone. I hope you're good on the phone. Maybe you need to take a Grant Cardone, Jeremy Minor sales course to get caught up. Huh? I'll tell you what, a lot of those SDRs are gonna say, oh crap, I understand how to filter, enrich data. I know how to scrape LinkedIn. I know how to do research on companies. I know how to do B2B data enrichment. I don't know how to cold call people and get them on the phone. I don't know how to go to a conference, shake hands, and develop a relationship in a sales. That's not their skill set. And that's the problem. That is what I've been trying to explain to you guys for weeks, if not months now. This is the time we're gonna have to evolve because the stuff that you're doing today is gonna change dramatically. Dramatically. So what did Vercel do? Essentially what they did is they replaced their entire SDR staff with AI agents. And please believe, we're only in phase one of this. We'll see how it rolls out for Vercel, but please believe if it works, every single company is gonna wanna do this. Honestly, I'm salivating because one of the companies I do marketing for and resources for, we've been talking about bringing on more SDRs, but if I know that I can do this instead, that's pretty appealing. It's pretty appealing to create an army of AI agents to enrich the data. It's pretty appealing. It's faster. It'll respond. There's gonna be challenges, there's gonna be problems, but that's pretty exciting to me, especially if you're going into an enterprise that has, a dozen SDRs. Well, imagine how quickly you could do it. By the way, this is also a huge advantage for smaller companies that can't afford to hire 10 SDRs. Well, you might not be able to afford 10 SDRs, but maybe what you could do is afford 10 AI agents. So I don't necessarily agree with this idea that big corporations are just going to accumulate all the wealth. We could talk about that in another video, but I do think that AI and AI agents, when handled properly, do give more ability to small business owners and medium business owners. Well, let's look at this work. Let's look at this workflow. When we look at what's happening with these AI agents and what Vercel did, how did they do it? And I want to break this down here. So the first step is identifying the work that is replicable and deterministic. Stuff that's like, if this, then that. AI is gonna have a hard time trying to make decisions on its own if it's not very obvious, okay? So the first thing we gotta do is we've gotta put together SOPs, standard operating procedures, and workflows of one of the jobs that can be automated by AI. So right now, again, we're looking at SDR work, we're looking at customer service, FAQs. These are gonna be pretty HR type of queries, any jobs like that. And what you're gonna wanna do is you're going to develop, you're gonna pick one person in the company that is your best employee in that department, and you're gonna wanna put together a comprehensive workflow. Now, this is where I think a lot of companies get caught up. This is where I've gotten caught up in organizations before, is putting together SOPs and workflows is always something that you're saying, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. We need to do that. It's important, but I can't do it. There's a program called Scribe that I think is very, very interesting for putting together these workflows. If you're in a business and you've been talking about putting together workflows, if your boss has been talking about putting together workflows for months, if not years, check out Scribe. I'll put a link below. Spoiler, this is an affiliate link, so if you sign up, if your boss signs up, I do get a small commission. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but I'll get a small commission. Thank you for clicking the button and checking out Scribe. But what Scribe's gonna do is essentially track every button click, every motion. It's going to write down all the SOPs and all the actions that go into that workflow. Now, once you've created this structured decision tree of if-thens, based on these workflows, by the way, it's a screen capture and everything. Scribe is really, really cool. Check it out. You're going to determine which tasks are automatable. At that point, you plug the workflows into AI agent tools. You connect the data sources from your CRM, from your web scraper. Basically, when you look at all the different softwares that your SDR or your employee was using, you plug all the APIs. All these softwares have APIs, guys. You plug all the APIs in to your AI agent, whatever you decide to use, and then you let it go to town and start automating. And guys, these repetitive, mundane tasks are completely cooked. You can see how this can scale up. I'm not going to go into all the technical details. What I want to do today is show you what's happening, what's possible, and some first steps to get you started. Maybe in a future video, I'll go into more details on setting up AI agents. I've done some basic AI agent connection with programs like ChatGPT AI agent. I was doing some cool things with email responses and email outbound. There's programs like N8N that are really popular. And again, I think one of the things that people are afraid of is, well, I don't want to be one of those guys. I don't want to train the AI at my organization so I can get replaced. But I think what you don't understand is this. If you're able to train AI to replace you, it is going to allow you to focus on other things, because if you've been able to do that, you're a pretty freaking smart dude. And B, if you're able to automate those tasks within your own organization, you can go to another organization and say, hey, look what I did for these guys. I can do the same thing for you. It's 25 grand. And they're gonna say, oh, wow, I don't know. Can you afford to wait? Because if we go now, within the next 6 weeks, you're gonna have AI agents automating, and that's gonna allow you to really, really magnify your results, save money, et cetera. Again, the point here is that if you're able to solve, this is a big problem that companies have. How do we deploy AI agents? And if you're able to figure it out in your organization, in your business, that is something that people will pay crazy amounts of money for. Not just for a small business, but if you're good at it, you can go to the enterprise level. People have not figured this out completely. Vercel is just trying it. If you're able to figure this out on your level, it's going to give you a huge, huge tool on the tool belt, if that makes sense. Smash subscribe if you agree with me. If you don't agree, go to the comments, type below. I'd like to hear from you. But I think that replacing yourself with AI agents is probably one of the best skills to be honing in on right now. Guys, and I also point out this. Consider how consider which parts of your job are automatable, are replicable, are mundane, are the same thing day in, day out. Start there. Consider which types of tasks are not automatable. The personalized phone calls, the shaking of hands, looking people in the eyes. Those are the things that you're going to want to work on. And by the way, you're going to want to help your kids learn how to do. A couple days ago, I mentioned this. One of the cool skills I think we should be building within our kids is this ability to communicate. And one of the ways you can do that, every time you go out to eat, assuming you go out to eat, we go out to eat twice a week here in my household. We actually shut that down from 5 days a week to 2 days a week in the very recent past, because we're spending just insane amounts of money eating out. Regardless, you go out to eat, have your kids order. Have your kids look someone in the eye, answer questions, ask questions. Good way to teach a very, very important skill. While most of the kids are out there with their eyes glued into an iPad watching Miss Rachel or some other nonsense, your kid is learning how to read menus, ask questions, speak, answer. Very, very important communication skills. Love that. Start adapting now. And the last thing I'm going to say here is that do it publicly. One of the best things you could do right now is share this video on LinkedIn. Share this video on social media. Let people know that you're thinking differently than everyone else. Let people know that you're not focused on the past, you're focused on the future. I know it's a humble plug for myself, but that is something you can do right. Listen, if you're still watching this video at 14 minutes in, if you're locked in, if you're here, you're a very smart guy. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, oh, listen to me, you're gonna be smart. I'm saying this because the type of guys that consume this type of content and listen and absorb the news and and can actually go into the comments and engage with some of the other smart guys, you're like in the top 10%. Okay? Share this video out. Let people know that you're thinking about AI agents, you're thinking about automation, you understand what's happening. This is a perfect chance to stand out. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks for being here. If you like this video, watch yesterday's video. We talk about Verizon. Verizon has just announced they're going to be firing 20,000 employees. This is the largest layoff in Verizon's history. It's happening right now, guys. Watch yesterday's video. I'll see you there, boys. Peace.